talking about safety. The whole subject is safety and everyday carry. This is a ballistic helmet. All right, so a helmet does a few things. Obviously, a protection nugget up to a 44 caliber, I believe this one's rated to. But the only reason I bought this was because I'm at a level of preparedness that I am, and if we had to leave here and in a hurry, what have you, I can put this on, or even on my wife or one of my children, whatever. This is not the only one we're going to have. We'll, you know, when the money's right and the stars align, we'll get a couple more, whatever. Providing legality and all that crap. But it's another avenue to carry a certain amount of gear. For me, though, it was relative safety. But you could see Joey has some things on his he may want to talk about.
So typically on mine, and also granted that these two are ballistic in nature. This one is just bump helmet. While these have properties that could withstand pretty much any pistol caliber projectile, where this is only for debris and bumps, things like that. These are also providing the same thing. Any type of falling debris, any type of fragmentation or anything like that. This is going to protect your head. The reason that I opt for a helmet is, like he touched on, is just to have more equipment. This is my hearing protection that just stows away on my helmet, and also I'm able to carry extra batteries for my hearing protection, extra batteries for mountable lights. What this does for you is gives you the ability to carry a hands-free light, hearing protection, and also a type of marking. This is an IR badge where anybody under night vision would overhead would see this and be able to identify you moving through an area. They're relatively lightweight. They're relatively comfortable. They tend to have a suspension system that keeps them where they should be. Military and law enforcement used to have a problem where during running or during evacuation the helmet would move around, so they've gone to these H-strap retention chin systems and these pad systems that will soften any blow to your head. CTE is real. Trauma to the head tends to manifest years down the line. Your head is one of the things that you really need to protect. This helmet is just a bump helmet. Again, commonality, they tend to be set up the exact same way. A hands-free light on the side. I usually keep it on my left side so that anything that I was doing strong side is going to be protected, and I'm going to have white visible light that's going to be unoccluded by anything that I'm doing strong hand. Commonality, white light. Commonality with carrying extra batteries. Commonality carrying extra batteries. These are just some, I think they're Thyrim battery boxes, and an ability to put extra things on the top, whether it be camouflage, whether it be medical equipment, whether it be any type of gear that you need to quickly stow, that you don't want to have to access a pocket or access a pack to get it. You can just with the shock cord, you can just latch it up to your head.
Now these are a little bit beyond everyday carry items. That's why we called it everyday carry and beyond title of the video. But just to show you, obviously safety glasses is something you should have all the time. I've gotten away from using standard hearing protection, although I keep several around, and we've gone to these because when we're on a range and we're shooting together and stuff, and even doing competitive shooting, things like that, not only can we block the sharp sounds from your ears and protect your ears, but we can also communicate with each other because this kind of enhances sound for talking and stuff while you have your head protection on, your ear protection on. So this is fantastic. So these are identical to what he has attached to his helmet. So sometimes we use the helmets when we train and stuff like that, and some guys use them in airsoft. I mean, that's another level of protection. You don't necessarily need a ballistic helmet, but why not have a ballistic helmet? You never know. If you got to drive through a city, go pick your daughter up at the local college or something, and there's a riot going on or something, you could throw that helmet on her, protect her.
And also a good point was use things like airsoft to get some halfway decent training. You get out of it what you put into it, and if you have this equipment to use in any type of real world scenario, you actually get to perfect the pros and the cons, the benefits and the hindrance that you get. You would get that in an airsoft game. Some of the good things also about this type of hearing protection is, although it blocks out any sound that goes above that 80 decibel threshold, you still hear talking just like I'm talking to you now. It passes through because the typical voice falls under that 80 decibel threshold, so that the microphone will amplify it in your ears, but anything over that would block it out. And now the higher quality of the electronic ear pro is actually like live time, where you would hear somebody talking, and then if anything over the decibel would shut the microphone off, you wouldn't even skip a beat hearing anything that falls under the decibel threshold. Another point about these is that they have down leads and they have a microphone which integrates into communication thing, where any type of communication device where you don't have to be within earshot of the person. You could be communicating via radio or DMR, digital radio, and even that falls into the same time frame as any of the noise canceling and any of the up close communication, where it would be uninterrupted. There would be no skip. You would just hear it all at the same time, like you were hearing it real time, and that they were right next to you. Even though it might be coming over the radio, it might be coming over the microphone, and the microphone will be blocking out any hurtful sounds. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a little bit about plate carriers and a little bit about armor and soft armor, hard armor. This here is an Emerson brand. It's the same brand name as the medical chest rig that I keep in my vehicle at all times. This is in my vehicle at all times. I do wear this in a professional capacity, and I use it strictly because of its mobility, the slim nature design, but also for the ballistic protection. Inside is level 3 soft panel. Part of the soft panel design. I tend to use these a little bit more with as plate backers, but these are typically used as backpack inserts for children going to school, for people that are concerned about the threats facing soft targets like schools or any other gun-free zone. This is a little bit more minimalistic design. It does have some ability to accept any of the more traditional carriers or traditional equipment, magazines, stowing, medical kit, things of that nature. But it's slim, it weighs nothing, and it takes up very little space in a vehicle. It's quick deployment, quick on and off, to aid in readiness. And this alone is going to stop anything up to anything coming out of a 12 gauge shotgun. It'll stop anything out of a pistol, rifle calibers. It's not really rated for. Going off of just soft body armor only is this design. This is a bullet safe carrier with bullet safe level 3 body armor protection on the inside. What's nice about this carrier, number one, it's fast on and off, but number two, it has the outside access to have a plate pocket if you wanted to put in a hard armor plate, front and back. So you can add hard armor in front of your soft armor as well. The other nice thing about this carrier and about bullet safe is it has protection around the sides. So where this carrier here is only front and back, and this is just the neoprene cummerbund with just various cells in it, so that you could put either communication devices, you could put medical stuff in there, you could stow extra magazines in there. Not that is entirely necessary. So this is the bullet safe. These are budget friendly options. I believe that this carrier was only around like $60-$70. The two armor panels were about $50 each. So for about $160-$170, you could have this whole setup here and have some ballistic protection from small arms fire. This vest and carrier here was a little bit more expensive. I believe that this was around the $190 price range. But again, this option and this option, they both do not protect you against rifle calibers. It's only handgun, shotgun, things of that nature. Now, as you step up into more budget, economical, this is a Condor plate carrier. This was from Infidel Body Armor Company. This entire setup, minus the magazine carrier on the front and the Camelback hydration bladder that's on the back, was in the area of $250, I believe. And I opted for the more expensive Condor carrier only because I like the little camel pattern that's on it. You can get the plain patterns, the greens, the blacks, the wolf grays. You can get those for they're under the $200 price point. The nice thing about this setup is that these have hard plates inside of them. I tend to use soft armor as my plate backer. So not only do I have the hard steel. This is AR-500 steel with a anti-spalling device, because when any projectile would hit it, it's going to spall. And this anti-spalling material is made to collect and trap any of the fragmentation from the round, so that if you were to take one up in the chest, you wouldn't get any spalling up into your face, neck, shoulders, arms. You wouldn't get anything like that. Now, because these are super hard, a little bit cumbersome, uncomfortable, I tend to use soft armor panels behind them so that it's actually a little bit more comfortable up against my body. And then also some of the more areas, because you can see that the plate is only coming to about here, where the soft armor is coming up here, so that anything that the plate doesn't catch, you have some level of ballistic protection. Although it's not going to defeat a rifle caliber, it's going to provide you with at least a little bit of more protection. So that's in the front and the back. And then on the sides, this vest on the cummerbund on the sides, it has a pocket for another 6x6 hard armor panel, so that your kidneys and your sides are protected when you're wearing it. The downside to this approach is that this vest tends to weigh quite a bit. I'm thinking that this vest weighs about 40 pounds. Carrying it around, it's a little bit cumbersome when you're wearing it and you disperse the weight around your body and you're carrying it with your legs, your hips, and your back, and you're not just carrying it with your arms and with your shoulders. It tends to be a little bit easier. I do use shoulder pads on it just to lighten the fatigue that you would feel on your shoulders. Joe's carrier is similar in nature to that. His design is a little bit more minimalist, where his cummerbund is a single strap. Again, shoulder pads to protect, and then he has hard AR-500 steel plates in there. He is using a backer behind his plates, which is great. It adds to the comfort level, and if you're comfortable, if it's not cumbersome, you're not going to get fatigued, and it's not going to be a hindrance for you to be wearing this. You could end up wearing these for a good extended period of time. Now, going off of all of that, this is the carrier that I tend to wear a good majority of the time. I've spent a lot of time in this carrier. These are ceramic plates in there, and I have level 3 soft armor panels in between the plate and my body. A lot of companies tend to they'll sell you plate backers that make it easier to have the plates up against your body. These typically cost around $25-$30 for the plate backer, where the level 3 soft panel tends to be like $60-$70. So as far as the investment goes, I would rather spend $20 extra and have a little bit of ballistic protection rather than and the same amount of comfort, rather than no ballistic protection for cheaper. Now we talk about a little bit of the commonality with these Mayflower clips. You can actually totally disconnect your whole chest placard off, and you could put on you could put on something like this panel on the front, and it just integrates in with the clip system. So just because this setup as I have it now is for extra magazines and things like that. If you wanted to go with a medical loadout, you do have that option as well. In my dump pouch, you've seen it before, but I keep another Leatherman Raptor, which is a medical shear. I keep an emergency space blanket. I keep a Sharpie pen, and I keep, these are cigar tubes, color coded, but I keep chem lights in the cigar tube so that sunlight doesn't degrade the ability of the chem light, and they're color coded so that when I grab it, I know which one it is. It's just for marking purposes, to alert people of your position, things of that nature. You can mark areas that you've been through. In the front pocket, I keep a set of Ranger pace beads, so that I can keep track of my pace count. On the side, on this little tech clip that I use typically to keep my mechanic's gloves, I keep a lens cloth that just folds away in this thing. If your eye protection fogs up, if you get dirt, dust, debris on your optic, on your weapon, a microfiber static-free cloth will come in super handy. I have a tourniquet on a wing expander pouch, and on the side I have a Baofeng radio. Maybe we'll get into comms later on, or in another video, about the importance of having comms and being able to communicate with people. My comms get routed through my chest carrier to my push-to-talk. My push-to-talk integrates with the comms gets integrated with the comms on my headgear. So I can clip in, and I would have comms directly into my hearing protection, and my push-to-talk with my microphone allows me to talk to anybody that's on the same frequency as what I'm carrying.
Which is a game changer for airsoft, by the way.
It's definitely a force multiplier, being able to talk to people over a great distance, and you don't have to scream to them or to holler out. You can actually, with this setup, you can whisper to somebody over the microphone, and they're gonna hear you clear as day. Just a little kind of just nice feature that I have, where I have swift clips on my cummerbund, so that I can get in and out of my vest quickly. Somebody could get me out of my vest if they ever needed to treat something that my vest was blocking them from being able to treat. They can get in and out of my vest quickly. Shoulder pads, not only do they lighten the load, but they also work as cable routing, where your cables aren't going to be getting hung up on anything, and you can route them in so that any little grabby or pull isn't gonna loop on to any of your cables. On my back, on this, I have a removable back panel, and in the removable back panel, up here, these three pockets, you can store extra medical stuff. You could store deterrence devices. You can store extra magazines, extra radios, extra ammunition, and then in the main pack, I just have a lobster tail section of tubular nylon. This is 50 feet of tubular nylon with a D-ring to hold it. If you don't know the benefits of tubular nylon, look into it a little bit. There's plenty of information on the internet. It's not so much a military or a law enforcement application. Matter of fact, a lot of the military and law enforcement, they have gotten adept to using tubular nylon for litters and drags, and they were exposed through fire departments. Fire departments have been carrying tubular nylon for a long time, and the applications that tubular nylon has are almost endless. You can airlift, you can make a litter out of them, you can make hasty drags to get somebody off of the X out of a hot zone. You can actually even use them to make a harness for a hasty lift with a helicopter. The the uses and possibilities of tubular nylon are almost endless. One of the other things that I do is on the Spiritus Systems Mark V chest panel, it's slotted for you to route shock cord through it, and that's to keep anything that you put in your kangaroo pouch, that's for you to keep it retained. You would always want to have one that is ready to go fast, but then you also want to have at least two that are retained, so that you're not going to lose them. If you fall, if you get turned around, if you get smashed around a little bit, this may come out, but you don't want to lose everything, so that you still have at least two retained. Something new that I've recently started getting involved in is this is a Juggernaut case and chest panel. In the front of it, I keep an IR reflective American flag, but this is my cell phone. And what's nice about this setup is you can use your cell phone actually as a body camera, as an action camera. But what it also allows you to do is they have systems like ATAC and everything else where any area that you're going to be in, you could take a Google Earth screenshot and you can send it to the app where you actually have an overhead satellite picture of everything. Everybody else that's tied in to the app with you can see, and you can mark for each other different things on that map, and it uses your geosynchronous positioning through your cellular phone, and you can mark areas, you can see direction of travel. Other people that are logged into the app and actively using it, you see their position on it. That, along with radio communication, is such a force multiplier because you don't have to be right next to one another to have joint action and joint movements around. It stows away nice and neat. It's not cumbersome, and you always have your phone device. Part of that is your phone is hard to take off, but you always have your phone case, and then you always have your like receptor on your plate carrier, and then it just,
you could even hold a pair of gloves or something.
It just clips right in, stows out of the way.
So this is obviously the Beyond portion of the video, but I'm sure you mentioned that my setup is generic and slick, if you want to call it that. And why do I even have this? Well, you know what? Because I am at a level of preparedness that exceeds your average person. But my thought process with this and the helmet is I watch what's going on in the world. I watch what's going on in the country, and I've seen things go bad real fast. So I have a plan that if I need to leave here in a hurry and it's dangerous, that each one of my kids and my wife, I'm going to put one of these on them, whether they like it or not. I'm going to throw a helmet on them if I have it available at the time, and they're all going to have a mask in their possession. At bare minimum, I'm going to make sure that my family is safe. It's no different than me and him working in a unit together. My first ultimate goal is to make sure he gets home to his family safe that day. I don't care what's going on. Whether I like him or not, he's going home to his family. Same thing here. My family is second only to God himself. I'm going to make sure that I do everything in my power to be that father who takes care, who's able to feed and protect his family. And that starts from the tomato seeds on the shelf here and goes all the way up to this ballistic protection. Just stating that. And I'm just a dumb civilian too. I'm nobody special. We all have mortgages and car payments and, bills for the kids. There's always an expense when you're a homeowner. We all know the list is long and long for expenses, taxes, the whole 9 yards. But there's really no permanent level or stopping point to preparedness. whatever level you want to be as a man or a woman or a family man, or even for your children. You can just go on and on and on if you want, but the basics, Bible, water, shelter, fire, food, it all starts from that, and then you branch off as you go on. So that's why I'm doing this, and I'm also using this. Listen, I got a lot of people who train on my channel physically. Obviously I can use some training. So one of my purposes for this as well, because of the weight, is as I can run more and walk more and get over this back injury and stuff, I'll be training with some of this extra weight on too, to help strengthen my legs again and things like that. So there's a method to the madness, and you can also remove these plates and use this to carry medical gear or whatever.
Load bearing, any type
Yeah.
of medical gear. I would think that this stuff would actually fall under shelter in a way. There is nothing that is going to be 100% effective 100% of the time. The best thing that you can do is mitigate a lot of these external situations that you may encounter. You can only protect yourself so much with still being able to be mobile, and these are just different aspects down that train of thought. Now, another interesting thing is that none of this stuff is illegal for civilians or citizens to have, because typically this stuff is all defensive in nature. Nobody should be able to tell you that you cannot have these things. The people that are barred from having these things are people that have been convicted of crimes in the past, and they're prevented from having things like this. And also in the state that we live in, if you commit a crime while you're using things like this, it's actually a more serious offense. So ultimately, we're saying all this stuff for good people, good Christian people at heart anyway. This is just a mindset that you should be thinking about. Like we're not telling any of this for people who are going to go out and do bad things or make victims out of good people. We're not intending for any of this stuff to be used like people like that. Also, in the state that we live in, law-abiding legal ownership of this stuff is fine. Just purchasing of it is supposed to be face-to-face. There are some companies in this country that don't necessarily subscribe to that, and you can seek them out on your own. They will send this stuff to you in the mail, but the state that we live in, this stuff is supposed to be purchased face-to-face, and most of the time you usually have to sign a release that you're using it only for lethal or legal and lawful purposes, and you aren't a convicted felon. So that's some of the disclaimers to owning things like this. But typically this stuff is defensive in nature, and it's for family protection. Companies are making backpacks with panels for hard plates, soft plates, for children, for children in schools, because we all know what the current climate is in this country, and some schools have been targeted, and schools are a target of hostile aggression. So
just because you have this stuff doesn't mean that you're 100% protected from being injured or being killed too. I mean, you go into a bad environment, someone who's highly trained has to be able to hit this plate, but some dum-dum gets out of the car, has an illegal gun, which we all know happens, and they get a lucky shot.
Right.
Next thing you know, you're coming out of a grocery store and some dum-dum is committing a crime. You never know. You just don't know what's going on.
And a lot of this stuff is like this could be worn underneath clothing or underneath sweatshirts or jackets, things like that. Some of these more bulkier, heavier carriers, they're going to stand out a little bit more. But if you think that people aren't noticing that law enforcement and the performance of their job, heck, even firefighters and a lot of first responders, EMTs, they've been in scenarios where actually they're wearing
they're targets.
Yeah, they're wearing body armor and protective equipment as well, and people are spotting that, and they're mitigating that by picking their shots rather than these pieces of equipment are really only designed to protect your vitals. A lot of them aren't protecting your lower abdomen, your pelvis. They're really only primarily heart, lungs, liver, protecting some of the more vascular things in your body that are going to be an instant kill. Extremities and intestinal area. Your legs, your more extremities. A lot of those that's not necessarily fatal in nature anyway. These are to just protect your vital areas, and the same thing goes with the helmet. You want to protect your heart, your lungs. You want to protect your brain as much as you can. You can never protect it 100%, but you want to protect it as much as you can.
And then things get, certain things happen in society too, where there's been people who have followed certain individuals home, even firemen, EMTs, correction officers, whatever. They follow you to your home. There's been a few times where I thought things were getting a little messy, so I actually wore this to and from work, and I put it on before I drove home, just as a precaution. So just it makes me sleep better at night knowing that I have a certain level of protection for me and my family. That's all. Not that big a deal. Don't be scared.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. Yeah, I like that. Don't be scared. Be prepared. And I just want to thank my buddy Joey for taking the time out of his day to come out here with all his gear and all this stuff. I mean, this is big. Hopefully this is a decent video for you people, and you learned something.
I hope you get something out of it, and it was my pleasure.
Word. Yo, I threw a subtle word in there.